Well, hello, and welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger. The date is June 23rd, 2024. I hope you'll all forgive me for sounding a bit rough and if I cough or have to clear my throat during the video today because yesterday during our art experiment and project we were using a lot of paint and glue and melting wax and needless to say there's a lot of fume in the air, so my throat is not feeling very uh, strong today. uh, if my throat doesn't recover by tomorrow, either we have to skip Music Monday, or I'm going to sing and sound like Rod Stewart or something. Anyway, today I'm going to share with you something that sort of been on my mind a little bit since earlier this week when I was researching for Wisdom Wednesday. I came across these two little stories of gratitude and forgiveness. And these were stories that had been written and been told for thousands of years in China. And I actually heard them before when I was younger, but to come across them again really gave me something to think about because, well, I am very good with gratitude. I am a very appreciative person. Uh, However, I will say that if there's one thing that I don't do well is I don't forgive very good. Forgiveness is not one of my stronger virtues. In fact, one of my friends has described me in the past as Johnny can hold grudges like a bitch. Okay, I know that sounds sexist, okay, but I did not say that. My friend said that. Um, but I can't really dispute that because when I hold a grudge, I really hold a grudge. I am one of those guys that can stay mad for 10 years and still remember why I am mad, and I'll still stay mad for another 10 years. Uh, Now, to sort of excuse myself a little bit there to justify it a little bit, I will say this. It's mostly because I am a very reasonable person, and generally speaking, it takes a lot to piss me off. Like I am very, very forgiving, uh, for until someone really crosses my boundary and really set me off. But once that line is crossed, then I am not very good at forgiving the person because I kind of feel that, it takes so much to piss me off. So if you still if you still manage to piss me off, then obviously you really mean it. You really wanted to. So if you work that hard to piss me off, then there's no reason for me to forgive you. Uh, anyway, that is my justification for myself. It is something that I know I need to work on, and it is something that I uh, been working on and trying to get better at. And I think I have. I think I am a lot more forgiving now and understanding than I was 10 years ago. But there's still a lot of work need to be done. Uh, anyway, like I said, throat not very strong today, so I'm going to try to keep this as short as I can. And hopefully, these two short stories will inspire you guys to think along the path of forgiveness and gratitude, like they do for me. Now, I knew I could save these for Wisdom Wednesday, but I think they are very fitting for Soul Search Sunday as well. Our first story took place about 3,000 years ago in China during uh, the chaotic period of spring and autumn, the Chunqiu period, where China was fragmented into over 20 little kingdoms. So China wasn't a cohesive country at that time. It was more like, well, like the United States before the United States was a solid group, if you know what I mean. So there were a lot of little states and kingdoms, and they all fought each other. So actually, both of our stories take place back during those times, during the period of spring and autumn, about 3,000 years ago. Our first story happened in the kingdom of uh, King, the King Kingdom, which was a forebearer, actually, forebearer, the ancestor of the later King Shi Huang and the guy who built the Great Wall and all that stuff. Uh, but this happened before him. This was when the king was just a king kingdom, wasn't a king dynasty. So the king kingdom, the king of the kingdom was named Qin Mu. Uh, I'm not going to keep saying the king of king. It's just going to sound really weird. Uh, because the actual pronunciation of that kingdom in Mandarin is Qin. Okay. So Qin Mu, the king of the kingdom. Okay. Qin Mu. Um, his favorite horses went missing one day. They broke out of the barn and ran away. So he was really angry, and he told his royal guards to look up and down the mountains and go around the kingdom looking for his favorite horses. And finally, the royal guard came back and reported to Qinmu, King Qinmu, and said, "Your Majesty, we have good news and bad news. Which one would you like to hear first?" And Qinmu was like, "What the hell? Okay, give me the good news first." Royal Guard told King Chimu, well, your Majesty, we found your horses. They ran away and they got almost to the other side of the mountain, but we found them." And Chimu said, "Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you found my horses. So, where are they?" And you said the bad news. What's the bad news? And the Royal Guard said, well, the reason that your horses only made it to almost made it to the other side of the mountain uh, is that there's about 300 barbarians and refugees and uh, poor people living in the mountain. These mountain people. They actually caught your horses and uh, well, they ate your horses. But don't worry, don't worry. We caught all of them. We arrested them, all 300 of them, and we have them in the in jail right now. So, if Your Majesty wishes, we can do a public execution, and we can execute all of them, and then that will send a message to your people, and so they will never try to eat your horses or things like that again. King Chimu didn't even bat an eyelash. He smiled and he said, "Oh, okay. Well, I heard it once that if you eat horse meat, you have to drink grape wine. Because if you don't, then you'll get indigestion from horse meat. I don't know why, but it's what I heard that grape wine goes good with horse meat and will nullify that indigestion issue. So I want you to let all of them out of jail and give them each uh, a, a skinful of grape wine so they can have some wine and so they don't get bellyache." The royal guard was confused, like, whoa. I thought he would be pissed. I thought he would want their heads chopped off. But he did as he was told. He let these refugees and mountain folks out of the jail, and gave them each a skin of grape wine and told them that they were allowed to go home. The prisoners were equally confused because every one of them were expecting that this was it. We ate the king's horses. We're doomed. Well, in, but opposite to, contrary to what they thought, they were given these nice grape wines and they were let go. Fast forward 3 years, the kingdom of Qin was in a heated battle against one of their neighboring kingdom, and King Qinmu got separated from his own troop and was surrounded by the enemy soldiers. And just as the enemy soldiers were about to kill him, suddenly, out of nowhere, a unnamed troop appeared. They didn't have armor, they didn't have flag or banner, they were not wearing uniforms. There were 300 very savage, very roughly dressed people armed with axes and hoes and spikes and wooden stakes and homemade spears and machetes, and 300 of them just came out of nowhere and slaughtered the enemy forces and saved the king. And the king, when he looked around and saw these people, he suddenly realized these were the mountain people that he let live 3 years prior, the people that ate his horses, the one that he gave them wine and let them go. And these people saved him today, and their leader came up to the king and said, "You treated us like we were your loyal subject. You treated us like you are a good king. So we risk our life today to serve you because you are our king." So that's our first story of a very gracious king and his uh, loyal subject that definitely showed uh, good, strong gratitude in the end. Our second story similarly happened in the period of spring and autumn, and this time we go to the kingdom of Chu, uh, the Chu kingdom. Uh, so this time we look at the king whose name is Chu Xiangwang, or rather, sorry, Chu Zhuangwang. I got the wrong king there. Chu Xiangwang was a later king. Chu Zhuangwang, the kingdom of Chu. So our story begins when the kingdom of Chu just finished a great battle and conquered a neighboring kingdom and having their victory celebration. Um, Chu Zhuangwang, the king of Chu, decided to have all the heroes celebrated at this royal feast. And because there's no room in the palace for everybody, they decided to do this in an outdoor square with tents and torches, and they were drinking and dancing and singing and celebrating late into the night. At night, all the torches were lit, and to show everybody his gratitude, Chu Zhuangwang had his two queens personally go to each table to serve wine and toast the heroes that helped him win the battle. Just as the two queens were going from table to table with jugs of wine and congratulating and showing their appreciation to the warriors. So there was a big gust of wind that snuffed out all the torches and put everybody in pitch darkness. And maybe because people were already kind of drunk and some these warriors that were rough and tough men, without much decorum. One of the warriors uh, took this opportunity in the dark and reached out and pinched one of the queens on some sensitive parts. The original story did not elaborate, so we are free to use our imagination. Um, and in retaliation, this queen reached out and grabbed a handful of something and ripped it off of the warrior. When she looked at what was in her hand, she realized that she actually grabbed and ripped off the hat band from his hat. Because back then, a lot of people, especially higher rank warriors and uh, officials and people who are more fashionable, would have hat band under their hat to make sure their hat wouldn't fly off their head when they were riding horses. And that's what she had in her hand, is one of these hatbands that she ripped off the warrior's hat. So she was very proud of herself. She made her way back to the king's table, and she told Chu Zhuangwang, she said, "Here, here's the hatband. One of your warriors tried to get fresh with me. Okay, so as soon as we have our servant relight all the torches, just look for that one person who's missing headband, and that will be the person. Okay, cut off his head, chop off his head because he tried to get fresh with me." And Chu Zhuangwang was a very merciful king. He decided, no, 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 no. These people just risked their life fighting for my kingdom. I can't do this to them. So rather than commanding for the torches to get lit right away, he stood up and got up on his seat and raised his voice and said to everybody in a cheerful tone, he said, "Hey, I got a great idea. You, you guys all too formal. You're in your formal armor, your cloak, your outfit, and you got your hat and helmet. And you know what? This is a celebration. This is a party. And let's have a party. Let's all take off our uh, um, armor, take off our cloak, and I'm going to throw my crown on the ground. Okay, I'm going to take this heavy crown off my head and throw it on the ground because for the rest of the night, I'm not going to be your king. I'm going to be just one of you. I'm just going to be your brother. I'm going to be one of you. And I want the rest of you to do the same. Take off your helmet, your hat, your cloak, throw everything on the ground. The hell with formality. Okay, let's have a good party. And when I have the torches lit, when the torches come back on, I do not want to see any of you with hat or helmet or anything. Okay? I want you guys to all just look comfortable. Everyone thought that was a great idea, and they were touched that the king would throw his crown on the ground and be one of them. So all you heard was a bunch of hat and cloak and things falling on the floor. And when the king heard that things were settling down, people were settling down, he ordered the servant to light the torches. And when the torches were lit, no, no one could see who was missing a hatband. Later, when everybody left and him and the king and the queens were back in the palace, the queen that got grabbed or pinched was really mad, and she asked the king, "Why did you do that? I showed you a way to identify the person, the perpetrator who tried to sexually assault me, and you did not punish him." And the king said, uh, let me interject a little bit here. Okay, what he said here is going to be again, sounding very chauvinistic and sexist, and uh, people who are uh, more into equal rights and stuff like that, you're going to feel that this is wrong. I'm not saying that it's not wrong. I'm just saying that this happened 3,000 years ago. People saw it differently. And also, when you are a leader of a country, you kind of have to think differently. Right? So the king said to the queen, "This is where you are wrong. You being a woman, all you think about is your virtue. Okay? So what? He pinched you, he touched you. This is one of the great warriors for my kingdom, one of the people that just risked his life for us, and he's going to risk his life for us again and again. I cannot chop off the head of one of my warriors just because he offended you. It doesn't work that way." Fast forward 7 years, the king of the kingdom of Chu was in a heated battle against the northern barbarians. And during the battle, one of the barbarians struck Chu Zhuangwang, the king, with a spear and knocked him off his horse. This barbarian rode forward and raised his spear and was just about to impale the king when an ordinary foot soldier came out of nowhere and cut him down and saved the king. And this soldier, who wasn't even anyone important, was just an ordinary foot soldier, stood there by the king, defending him and fighting to the death and killing any barbarian that would come in range. And he defended the king until the royal guard got there to usher the king to safety. Later, the king had this foot soldier brought to his tent, and he said, "You are my bravest warrior. When I fell off my horse today, I thought that was going to be it. None of my people were there to save me in time, but you defended me so bravely like a lion. You are the greatest warrior in my kingdom. I want to make you a general. What is your name?" And the the foot soldier said to the emperor, to the king, your highness, my name is Tang Jiao, uh, but I cannot be your general because what I did today was just to repay you for your kindness. And Chu Zhong said, well, what do you mean? Like you saved your king. Like why do you feel that that you shouldn't be awarded? And Tang Jiao, the foot soldier, said, because 7 years ago I got drunk and offended your queen, and she snatched the hatband off my hat. If your Majesty did not order everybody to throw down their hat and helmet and have a good time, I would have been found out and executed, or at the very least, I would be embarrassed and probably severely punished. But because you did not embarrass me in front of everybody, you did not punish me, I never forgot your mercy. For 7 years, I've been trying to wait for a chance to repay your highness. And today, I saw you fall off your horse, and I knew that I have to save you, even if I have to risk my life doing so. So there you have it. Our two little stories of gratitude and forgiveness, or you can say gratitude and mercy. For someone like myself who often is very quick to judge and uh, cast my judgment on a situation or on a person, especially someone who offends me, I I've been thinking about these two stories a lot this this last week. So, like I said, I hope that these stories, though they are very old and historically may not be as accurate as they should be, I hope that they will bring you guys something to think about, and hopefully, uh, we all can become better versions of ourselves. Thank you for checking out today's episode, and I'll hopefully be back tomorrow for Music Monday.